didn't have to pay for school for my whole entire first year. But it was really hard, so I ended up transferring to a vocational school. And when you go to vocational school, they don't allow you to use that stuff. You have to take the loan, which I thought was weird. But I was like, 18, 19 years old. I didn't know any better.
Probably because they finance their own loans, probably.
What was your vocation?
Medical billing.
Oh, okay. I remember that. That was a big thing back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of people were.
Yeah, so I went to school to be a medical biller, and they wouldn't allow me to use any financial aid. I couldn't use any. Well, I could have got a scholarship, but who's going to give me a scholarship to go to medical billing school? So, I mean, so you are pretty much forced to take the loan because they don't allow you to have any of that stuff, which I think is a ploy to get more money from you in the long run because they know the only person who's going to be able. My mom had to co-sign on the loan. She didn't want to, but what was she going to do? This is my future. This is my education. So that's the loop. I think that vocational school loop is a trap, and that's the one that needs to be eradicated completely.
Well, there's actually a lot of things wrong with our educational system, especially all of it from
bottom up.
Yeah, from bottom all the way up to secondary and post-secondary, all of that. It needs to be revamped. We talked about briefly a minute ago. Somebody mentioned about how expensive it is. It's insane, and it's actually similar to what was going on with the housing. Mm-hmm. It's artificially inflated. Education, there's no reason why it costs as much as it does. They've inflated this, and it's like it's a bubble, and it needs to burst because it's ridiculous, and it's unsustainable the way it's going right now. So something is going to happen. I don't know what it is, but I'm sure before my daughter goes to school, before she reaches college age, it won't be the same as it is now.
Think about an NCAA school with a strong sports program. Just the revenue from their basketball or football alone would pay for all their students' education, would subsidize all their students' education. But on top of that, they're charging each one of them $6 figures a year.
Right.
Come on.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
And these are kids. Yes. These are young kids coming fresh out of high school.
And it's a racket too. Even like with the textbooks and all that stuff, they first of all, they make the professors that have tenure, they have to be published, and then they have to publish so many books. They have a quota, right? And so a lot of them, they write textbooks, and the used books are great for the students, but not for anybody else. So what do? They'll take a book, rearrange a couple of chapters, maybe add one chapter, but it's basically the same book.
It's a new edition.
And publish it over, require you to have to pay all that money for an expensive brand new book because it meets their quota for publishing a new book, and it puts more money in their pocket and the university and everything else. And that's and these are the people that we've entrusted to guide our kids, our youth, into where they're supposed to learn how to be of good moral character and fiber, and they're just being used and abused and ripped off,
right?
Like they're being scammed,
right? Right.
That's a racket.
That's it.
If you were on the street doing that shit, they take you to jail for it.
Their housing is artificially inflated.
Yeah,
and all those food courts at a university and stuff like that. If you have Chick-fil-A or you got Burger King. Chick-fil-A and Burger King didn't just buy space there. No. They're leasing. They're paying the school to be there. The school's got money. Stop believing the lie that these colleges are struggling.
Right.
Yeah, and they're charging them money, and they're charging them so much money that the prices of these places are more expensive on the college campus than they are, anywhere else. Just like
a normal place.
Yeah. So again, more taking advantage of the poor students once again.
I worked in catering for a few years, and I worked at a lot of different colleges, universities in LA. And they have, when I say they have lavish parties, they take that money, and they have open bar, all you can eat this, seafood, that, all you can do this and do that, all this. They have very, 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 very lavish, quote unquote, meetings.
I understand, and
With that money.
I've taken advantage of them. My undergrad, Bradley University, and I love my undergrad, and I'm so glad I went to school there. But I'll tell you this: I'll never starve. They will always buy me free lunch or dinner.
Man.
And see, that's exactly why at my job, like we don't get anything that we don't pay for. Like even now, like all year we've been no because
But they're the government.
Right, we're the government, so we don't because of stuff like that. Like there's none of that going on because the citizens would not have it. So we've been raising money all year for our little Christmas party and stuff that we're gonna have in a couple weeks because it all comes out of our pocket. So that nobody can say, "Oh, you guys are like having these lavish this and that and whatever else." They already
my check was late from this department, but they giving this money to throw them parties.
Right. Yeah, and we're already always in the news about they don't like how much we get paid and all this kind of stuff, and they're always trying to So yeah. All right, let's get into some TV. We haven't had a chance to talk about TV in a minute. So we have, since the last time we talked about TV, there's been a couple of new streaming services that have dropped. One of them being Disney. Mm-hmm. Well, actually, Disney Plus is the name of the streaming service. And if you have not joined already, I would wait a minute because there are a lot of people who are having having problems with it because so many people have joined right off the bat that they're having some streaming issues, which happens to a lot of new startups, with tech, even though Disney is a well-established brand that's been around forever. This is something new that they have never done before. So they're having a little bit of growing pains, but it's Disney. So I'm more than confident that they'll get it together soon. Right. But
I hope so.
They are having some problems, but not everybody. Some people are having a good experience already, but there are some people who, like my nephew, he can't. A lot of stuff is not populating on the screen. A lot of stuff is like not showing up. But I did hear that that there's not a whole lot of content. I think that's applies to Apple and Disney. No, Disney. I'm sorry. There's a lot of content. I'm getting ahead of myself. That's the Apple when I start talking about Apple. With Disney, the biggest problem is that not everyone can stream and not everything is showing up because it's just so crowded and congested. But they also released their much anticipated debut series called The Mandalorian. So for you people who are not deep into Star Wars and don't know who the Mandalorians are, think Boba Fett, the bounty hunter from the original Star Wars series. They had the kind of the space armor with the helmet, and he had it was kind of grayish, and he had a jetpack and would fly. Mm-hmm. That guy. Well, the planet or his people are the Mandalorians, and they're these warriors and everything, and so they have a TV series called The Mandalorian, and it's by Jon Favreau. Jon Favreau wrote it and is directing it, so he's like the force behind it. I've seen the first 2 episodes of it, and it's really good. The quality is excellent, and Jon Favreau, I think, has a very good handle on he seems to have a very good handle on the whole Star Wars mythology, because the series feels very, very much in tune with the rest of the movies. It doesn't feel out of place at all. The writing, the costumes, just everything, the characters, everything. It feels like George Lucas did it himself to me. Like it feels very, very real, right on, spot on.
I didn't even know Dino was a nerd.
So, and the first is only, like I said, only been 2 episodes. It is really good though, and they're likening it to. They're basically saying because Star Wars was basically the idea of Star Wars is kind of a spaghetti western, a cross between spaghetti westerns and samurai movies, old westerns and whatever, samurai movies in space.
Okay,
that's basically the idea behind it. And if you watch it with a little bit of religion thrown in, So that's basically what Star Wars is, and that this series is basically kind of a Western in space. You know, he's a bounty hunter, and he's doing so. Yeah, it feels very much like, you know, like some sheriff, you know, or marshal out to get some bad guys. You know, it feels a lot like that. But yeah, it's pretty cool. And like in typical Star Wars fashion, it's not super deep or super, you know, the stories aren't super, you know, top notch, but it's very fun to watch and very in line with it. I feel like if you're a fan of the shows, you'll or the movies or the franchise, you'll like it.
Okay. Can I ask y'all a question? Speaking of Disney,
sure.
Did y'all see The Little Mermaid live?
No.
I did not, but the girls,
I was going to ask you
they recorded it so they could watch it. The funny thing is they didn't watch it live because it was on the school night. So, yeah, and I don't
And it came on late.
And it came on late, right. And so, yeah, Danya, you know, yeah, she couldn't.
Much like other things on television, I did not know about it until the day after when it was on social media.
All right.
But I wouldn't have watched that anyway.
Really? I watched it. I was mad that I missed the first 30 minutes of it. I watched it from 30 minutes in to the end. Queen Latifah did a great job. Shaggy was funny as the crab, but it wasn't what I expected. And they also, remember they were doing that Not My Ariel thing? This was not that. So
right.
I thought it was that. And so I probably wouldn't have watched it if I would have known
that it wasn't that.
But it had a black Ursula.
So you was looking for Chloe.
I was looking for Chloe.
Right.
I was ready.
It is Chloe, right? Not Haley.
I don't know.
One of those.
Yeah.
Haley or Chloe.
One of them. I was ready for that. But Queen Latifah did a great job as Ursula.
I spent one Thanksgiving with the original Ursula, Pat Carroll.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, her daughter and I did a show together, and her daughter invited me to Thanksgiving at their house.
Yeah. Well, Little Mermaid wasn't that great, the new one.
No.
She spent a couple of Thanksgiving with them. But that's beside the point. What else is on TV?
So, well, Apple also dropped their streaming service, Apple TV. And that one, now, it's super cheap.
Oh.
Okay? It's like,
they got me.
I think it's like $5. But this is the catch. There's not a lot of content on it. Not a lot of content that's free. That's or should I say, not a lot of content that's included in your monthly subscription. Most of the stuff that's on there that I hear is like rentals. You know, you have to rent this and rent that or whatever. So not a lot of
more money.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot of original. There is some stuff though, and leading the pack, the flagship series is our boy Jason Momoa. Oh, yeah, known to you guys as Khal Drogo from Game of Thrones, and also he was on Stargate Atlantis, or one of those Stargates. It may not have been Atlantis.
He's Aquaman.
But, yeah, Aquaman, all that, Lisa Bonet's husband, all known as all those things. He has a new show called C. I have not watched it yet. I'm saving it. There's certain things online or just certain shows I save because, like, there's so much on right now.
Right.
But nobody does TV during the holidays anymore. Like, so everything is a repeat or off, you know?
True.
So I'm saving, like, C. I'm saving Jack Ryan. I'm saving some other things, you know, to watch during the holidays because, you know, they're coming up and it's going to be a little drought, you know, so.
A little.
Yeah, exactly. But anyway, so that's what's up with Apple TV. But I hear that the content, like Disney Plus, like Netflix, like Hulu, is really top notch. The production is really good. You know, they didn't, you know, skimp on the production. It's really good. And there's just not a lot of content at the moment.
Okay.
So let's see what else. I just mentioned Jack Ryan. Jack Ryan is back for those of you who are into that. The second season, that's on Amazon Prime. Ray Donovan is back. That is a Showtime show. And I wanted to talk about Godfather Harlem again. I know I've mentioned that show a few times on the show, but reason why I wanted to bring it up again is because
it must be really good.
It is really good. And I said on the outskirts that I didn't think it was up Pip's alley. I take that back. I think it's definitely up Pip's alley.
Okay.
Because it masquerades as a gangster kind of show, whatever. But that's just kind of like the Wire.
Yeah.
On the surface was like, you know.
Or Sopranos.
I kind of feel like The Sopranos was what it looked like. But the wire, it on the surface, I think some of the less intelligent